a lot of women go straight for the finances. The thing, a lot of women go through a lot of stuff, right? And they have this guard up, and they have it with their families, with their friends. I don't think that necessarily a lot of women have guards up with their friends, but some friends, they don't disclose a lot. Like, there's not a lot of vulnerability between a lot of people in their friendships, depending on like the surface level, like the depth of their, how far their friendships go, right? So I feel like even in friendships, women do not show that super duper vulnerable side, that super sweet side outside of romantic relationships. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, the reason that women crave relationships so much is because they love who they are when they're with a man. They love how feminine they are. They love how sweet they are, how nurturing, how loving, how affectionate.
Yeah.
They love seeing this side of themselves come out. And that's why they be like, oh, he makes me feel so good, because you're making him feel so good. You're making yourself feel so good, right? And so they pour into this so much because they feel like this is the only place that they can be this person. And so they don't realize. And so what they were saying is like the toxic monogamy is that romantic relationships aren't the only place that you can be intimate. You know what I'm saying?
So my friend posted this thing where it was like, hug on your friends, give them a kiss, like take away this idea that you can't be, uh affectionate with your friends. And like, she's one of the friends, like literally if I'm having a bad day, I'll be like, I just need a hug, because she gives the best hugs. And like Asia it hates affection, and we always hug her because we're like, we're your friends, you know what I mean? Like, hug your friends, kiss them, like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, those are like the some of the most intimate, if you allow that, right? Because back to what Asia was saying, like, it could be one of the most intimate relationships you have. But if people are only always surface with their platonic friends, and only intimate with, you know what I mean, like relationships, romantic relationships, then that takes away, it takes away from who you are, because friends are going to add to you if you have the right people in your life. They're going to add to you. Like, there was this, I know everybody saw that picture of Lori and Jordan Woods and her friends when they were in Jamaica, and somebody put on top of that tweet, like, this could never be me because females don't like me, or something like that. And everybody in the comments was like, sis, that's a you problem. Because if you don't got friends, that sounds like you. Because, people have friends. Like, what are you talking about? Like, if you don't have friends, that's a reflection of you. You know what I mean? Some of my oldest friend I've known since I was 4 years old. So I know it's people. Like, I'm like, oh, and that's what I said. I was like, oh, sis, that sounds like a you problem. Because it's people out here who like want friends and know how to be friends and want to have those intimate relationships with in a platonic way. But a lot of times we feel like we can't be that way, or somebody's going to judge us, or whatever the
because
hell.
a lot of people don't trust trust those bonds, but for some reason they feel safer with a man because they crave that presence. Like, a presence of a man, it's like such a natural thing because it's about a father. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like an association thing. For us naturally, like men and our fathers. Therefore, when we find a man and we're like, okay, I have this attraction, something's pulling me towards you, now make me feel good. You're the person to make me feel good, and I make you feel good, and I can only make you feel good this way because you make me feel good. They trust the exchange that's going to happen. Whereas with these other relationships, if they poured that kind of energy, and if they allowed themselves to be that kind of person, codependence wouldn't be so bad. You know what I'm saying? Balance would be better, because if you were to allow yourself to be that way with your friends and with your family, you would have way more balance in your life, and not saying, okay, I got to always be around this man because he's the only person who's giving me this kind of energy. He's the only person I can give this kind of energy to. So that's really why it's such a toxic atmosphere for relationships, because we make our partners become everything for us, because we're not giving the other relationships in our lives a chance to be that for us.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely see for myself a huge change because at one point, even for myself in my in a relationship, I felt like once I was like, yo, I'm so in love with love. I'm so in love with, you know what I'm saying? You start to realize like when something goes wrong, you start to realize you were really addicted to how you love. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You really see your capacity of who you are. You're like, wait, why can't I be this all the time? Be this way all the time? You know what I'm saying? Because it becomes more about you than it really was about that person. That person could have been treating you like trash, but you know what kept you there? You thinking about how you love that person and who you were with that person or whatever like that. And when you start to realize that's the person that you truly can be and truly are wherever you go, you'll really start to see your relationships change. And mine have changed with my friends and my family, like being able to show them like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? I am sweet. I just wasn't showing you that because I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like you feel like, you know, you're easily more judged with your family. That's probably what it is. You know what I'm saying? And then with friends or whatever like that, I don't get that aspect because you actually choose your friends.
Right.
But a lot of women feel like other women compare and judge, but it really depends on the kind of women that you bring around you.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
but I wanted to, right. I wanted to add to the point about like being addicted to that feeling of love or to that, you know, romantic attention. And some people are addicted to that. And they use it to fill a void and they end up staying in relationships that they're not really happy in. Like, and I've, you know, done that. That was my last relationship. And once I tapped out of like, oh shit, like the feeling was all coming from me. Like you weren't you weren't trying to maintain that feeling. Like I was the one who was like, you know, romanticizing it and the idea of having someone and you know what I mean, trying to be a family and things like that. And but it was coming from me. It wasn't coming from him. So once I realized that, it was like easy for me to be like, oh, well, I gotta go. Cause like you said, like all of that energy came from me. So I could just reverse that right. I could just reverse that shit and put it into my goddamn self and live my happy life and not have to worry about being attached to somebody. So I think it's like a process for people, but they have to want to have that reflective awareness on their own. You know what I mean? And it took me a while to get there. So please don't think I'm talking to you about a 6-month relationship. Like I'm talking to you about a 2-year relationship. You know what I mean? Where I was like, oh, we're good and I'm happy, but it was bullshit. Right. And and we had this conversation. Man, isn't that crazy? Isn't that scary though?
Looking back,
it's
like,
scary.
It was scary how
denial.
Like, denial you were.
Denial.
All of us. All.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this earlier. Damn, I forgot my point. But we were talking about this earlier about how like you want things to be one way, and then when you get little hints that they're being something else, you're just like, nah, that can't be it. Nah, that's not it. But then that shit starts slapping you in the fucking face, and you're like, okay, like you can't be this dumb. Like, come on, bitch,
because
wake up. Like,
no, but that shows you the power of manifestation. Like women, they're like, oh, it's gonna be to the point that they drive it home that way. You know what I'm saying?
And they make it all the energy. They make it like that. Like they're forcing it. So like whoever the other person is doesn't even have to do anything because they're like, well, you're just gonna.
Woo. Girl, that's the thing. Like when people try to sit there and say, oh, I don't believe in manifestation, you be trying to manifest all types of junk in your own freaking life.
Right. Not even realizing that that's what you're doing.
Yep. Right. Over here lying to yourself.
The signs coming your way. You don't let none of them little red flags touch you. None of that. Like, look how much you could believe in something and have faith in something's gonna work with a whole man. Okay, so you better use that energy within your own freaking life because look how faithful you could truly be to what you believe.
Man, I think about that too. Like.
And I'm gonna point that out to somebody the next time they talking about manifestation. What is that? Oh, but I bet you manifesting whatever man you want, right?
Yes.
Same thing.
Yo, the funny thing is you don't even get the result you want. It don't even look like you about to get the result you want, but best believe you believe it to your core, though.
Yep. But it's easier to do it with a man than it is in your own life. But that's a whole nother
right, because we don't think we have that much control.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
We don't believe in ourselves.
Isn't that crazy though, that we feel like we have that much control over a nigga, but you don't have that much control over yourself or in your own life? Like, what?
Exactly. But that just shows you it's easier to concentrate on everyone else but yourself. Yeah. It's easy to pour that energy. And it's so crazy because that's where I am now. Like, I'm seeing, I was able to manifest. This is the thing. The manifestation, that energy that we give actually helps to manifest in the guy's life. It's not with your lives together. So it's like, he
be taking all that energy and applying it to his fucking self.
Exactly.
And bitches
it's
be
never
mad
about your relationship. He got a whole freaking job now. He freaking living good. All the stuff that he wants has been made through your own power. Yep. And it's like, once I gave myself that power, it was like, yo, I see it now. Like, you know, I see what I was able to do. So it's kind of like turning that inwards. You'll see your own capacity because you see it through what you were able to do for another person's life outside of you. Look at what you did for somebody else. So what if you put that onto yourself? You can't, and you have access to that 24/7 with your own mind.
I was I think it was like Red Table Talk in this group, and this girl was like, I have a question. I'm dating this great guy, but he's still in school, and he said he's not ready to get married until after he like has his shit together. And they're like, but he doesn't want to give her like a ring or anything. And she's like, what should I do? Everybody was like, go live your life, girl. Like, he living his life. Did you think we was gonna say wait for him? No, go live your life. If y'all meant to be, y'all will be. You know what I mean? Like, don't sit around waiting on this nigga, because you wait 5 years and you ain't got a ring, you gonna be pissed at him for saying he lied to you. And it's like, when you were in control the whole damn time to do what the fuck you needed to do for yourself and stop worrying about him. And that's just a toxic monogamy thing. Like, oh, well, I need to be married. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna get married. I just want to check that box. But it's like, that box is not life. Like you can live a great life without getting married.
Like, where is this even coming from? No one told you that you need to be married. You just feel that because you've seen it since you were a little girl, and you think that's some kind of goal.
And it makes me so sad because other people, they're passing and they're thinking about, oh, I may have not accomplished this. I wish I would have said I love you to this person. Yeah, we're gonna be like, dang, I wasted all these years on that one nigga. Like, that's gonna be us. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way that we're going is like, men really become the whole pie, and you out here didn't do not a thing
for yourself. You know, ain't been out of the damn country, ain't been out of your damn city, because you over there lapped up with some raggedy ass person that you don't like. That's checking a box. Like, in reality, you would want more. You know what I mean? There's some people like you said, taking the scraps and trying to make a whole damn life out of that. And it's like, no, boo, you could have more. There is more out there for you.
Yeah. No, I think it's because that, like, women really look at men as genies, and like when they meet them, they're like, okay, make
Fix
all
me.
my hopes and dreams come true.
Fix
And it's
my
like
problems.
Girl, and it's literally like they put so much into it, because even though they're giving them all this energy, they're still thinking you're still gonna save me. Like, you're still gonna be the one to save me, instead of realizing you saving him. Like,
girl,
you can save yourself. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's why they die with those hopes and dreams, because they leave it on their shoulders instead of putting it on their own. But yeah, Mary, you got another bullet point?
Yes, I do. Feeling of shame when you have multiple crushes at once.
Ooh.
Who says that having two crushes at the same time means you value one any less than the other? Can't a person like two people equally? Yes. And there's nothing toxic about that. Period. Next. No, I'm just playing.
We have multiple. I feel like we're not one layered people. You know what I mean? Like,
we're not.
What the fuck is that?
There's nothing natural about monogamy. Monogamy is literally just a social construct. Even if you have never cheated on anyone, the average person is going to have more than one romantic connection in their life.
Right.
So monogamy says that you're supposed to be with this one person forever, period. So based on that definition alone, we're literally not monogamous because
we literally dying alone.
Because we literally have different loves throughout our life.
Right.
So yes, you are able to have you're able to have feelings for multiple people at one time, because you're not even the same person you were 2 weeks ago, let alone 10 years from now. So you're just going to look at people differently, and you're going to attract different people based on who they are and where you are at the time. So you can be in love with guy A who's completely different than guy B, and you can love them at the same time based on who they are. And there's nothing fucking wrong with that.
Right. I have never experimented to that degree, so I don't even know what it's like. It sounds interesting. I know people do it like every single day, all day.
Yeah.
But it's like, I just feel like it's so interesting to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just an interesting thing. Like, I'm open to hearing how y'all experience it more, because that's kind of what you need to be doing while dating anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
it's necessary.
So I don't know if I would call it love. Probably. I might have been in love with both of them. I was definitely in love with one, but the other one, I had a much deeper spiritual connection with him than I did the person I was in love with.
Wow.
And so that's what attracted me to the second guy in the first place, was because of how we clicked spiritually and mentally. So I loved them both for different assets that they both had, and for the relationships and how I felt with both of them at the same time. But they were completely different men. That's why I say, yes, the fuck it is possible. Because
did you feel free? So in my head, it makes you feel like, but it's crazy because I love my family, you know what I'm saying? I love certain people, I love certain friends, so you do have room in your heart for more than one person.
Right.
It's just weird to think about a man loving two men at one time and saying, do I have room for this? But did you feel shame? Did you feel free? Did it feel regular?
Of course I did, because I was cheating on somebody, but my feelings were real. So in that case, it got to the point where I was like, you know what? I really don't care, because I truly love both of these men for who they are.
So I think that's one of the other lines of toxic monogamy. They have that quote, like, if you love two people, you love the second person more. You should be with the second person, because if you really love the first person, you wouldn't have even been with the second person in the first place.
True.
And false. Completely false. Nope.
No. We know that. That's what I'm saying. That is that you are disproving that quote, right?
Exactly.
Because you were fulfilled by two different people at the same time, and the only guilt came from you cheating, not from how you felt. And so my question is, do you feel like you were? I mean, I know you were, with somebody. So were you at a point of, what was your level of happiness in that time, aside from the cheating aspect? But as far as like your value, I don't want to say these men valued you, but it's just like, to me, in my mind, that just seems like so euphoric. You know what I mean?
That's
to be able to have
that's exactly
those
how I felt.
Those two different aspects be handled in your life. You be mentally and spiritually connected with somebody, and then I don't know what the other connection was with the other person, but for both of those to be matched and fulfilled, that seems like, whoa.
Yeah, if you take the cheating aspect off the table,
like, what was that like?
If it was perfect.
Wow.
Cheating aside,
she was great.
Like, if you didn't even bring that in there, we could just still have the open mind to look at how the experience was.
I mean, I'm looking at it for that way. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm looking at it too, but I'm saying a lot of times people just look at the cheating part and be like, oh, nah, that's wrong. But if that wasn't even in the in the picture, it's like, okay, so this is what it would be like to date multiple people and have feelings for multiple people to the point where you're enjoying it, you're happy, you don't feel like I have to choose one or the other. You know what I'm saying? It's not a decision that has to be made. You can enjoy the connection that you have with a human being.
Yes. And it honestly made me think like, oh, so this is why the polygamists do it.
Yep.
Because there was, I think the biggest thing about it was there was no pressure on
no
either
limitations,
of them.
None of that.
There was no pressure, no limitations. It was like, okay, I could talk about this with this person, and I can go out and do this with this person, like.
Yeah.
And it's no pressure on that one person to be all of those
exactly
things, right?
Like, if he didn't want to talk about something, I'd be like, okay, I could talk to the other person about it.
Damn, that's crazy.
Like, either way, I'm still getting my needs met, and that person doesn't have the pressure to engage in something they don't want to do. So it's literally a win for everybody. And if I could still be with both of them, based on where I was at that point in my life and where they were and how I felt with both of them, if I could have kept that going, I would have, because it felt great.
And not even that, like, you have the ability to do that now, which is why people don't understand how gold being single is.
Yeah.
Man.
Like, they miss the mark because it's like they feel like, oh, I'm trying to hurry up to be in a place where I'm limited. And it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Why?
The person,
right.
Exactly. Like, this is the thing. Like, so for me, if I wasn't dating, if I want to be in a relationship, yeah, you're going to have to be monogamous with me because that's my preference. If you don't want to do that, go be single and be free. But it's like, if you're already free and single and you're dating and you have those feelings and you're building those connections and you're like, ooh, I got this over here and this over there, you're golden, boo. You're golden. And you don't have to. And like you say, you don't have to need one person to have such a high expectation on them. And that's the thing that made it free, because you weren't putting that energy out there. I need to create this person. I need to create this. You're missing this piece and this piece.
Oh, yes.
They were able to be exactly who they were, and you can still be
enjoy
you,
them.
and you can get your you can enjoy them naturally.
And that was the best part about it, is that I wasn't disappointed because I could accept them both for who they were.
But it just shows you, even if you weren't dating multiple men, you can balance that out with getting your needs met with other relationships as well. So,
yeah.
Right.
All of that. But I definitely like I like your perspective, and I like the experience that you had, because it can remind you that what relationships where? What do I need that for? You don't have to feel value or be valued because you have a label, you have a title, you're in a marriage, you got a baby. None of that. At the end of the day, it's about humans truly wanting to connect with people who are already pre-made, and just experiencing the connection between you two, and the freaking intensity of that, the energy of that, all of that. You know what I'm saying? You can do that out in the world with meeting new people. You can do that with men who want to please you and freaking kiss your toes, all of that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is just what it truly is about. But it's crazy that for you, the reason that it didn't click maybe is because you were already in a relationship, and then you were like, oh, it would be cool to have a man give me a new fresh perspective. But if you were single, girl, you could have had 5 of them.
Look, girl, you know what? Now I'm excited about dating again, because now I am about to be on mine.
Because I was literally about to say that, like, Mary, nigga, you might need more than one nigga. That might be what's wrong.
Exactly.
You're trying to force this one thing to happen.
Always unsatisfied, and I can't even say sexually. It's always something
missing.
Yeah. Like even with the last relationship I got out of, like, what attracted me to him was the stability, but that was also the fucking most boring part about him. But it's like, I want that stability in someone, but I also want them to be fun, but I also want to be able to do this
You
and do
need
that.
people.
Like, and plus I'm a Gemini. Like, honestly, I really don't be knowing what I truly want deep down. So
no, but you know something, it's a rarity of people who's able to give you everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I'm a rare one, but you know what I'm saying? But it's more of like, a lot of times you're not gonna find everything with one person, and so at some point you have to love them enough to be okay with they don't have this aspect, and you do find it within other relationships that you have that may not be romantic. Sometimes it feels like a settle, or it feels like a sacrifice, but if
It
you
does feel like a settle.
it does. But that's because you have to be realistic that I fell in love with this person, and if you accepted them from jump as who they were, then you would have been able to understand if they were even supposed to be at the level that you brought them to.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But since you didn't vet them properly, you could have just left them where they were, and like you said, went and found other people to fill up the other areas you felt like they did not. So I just feel like at the end of the day, it just is truly about, like, you know what I'm saying, you change your mind, and until you feel like you're willing to say, you know what, I've been rocking with this person for a good minute, and he may not be good in this area, but you know what? I'm okay with that, because I really mess with this connection so much that I'm willing to, you know, put that aside, because it's not that serious. He is more important than that tiny need that I need met, and I can definitely have relationships in my life that's not romantic where I can get that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's never realistic to have a relationship that's going to fulfill every freaking need that you have. You're going to be alone forever.
It's just not. And that idea in itself is what made me give up on dating for a while.
Right. But that's also because you only thought of it from a limited perspective of one guy being
of one,
everything.
yeah. And I don't think that's normal. Which is why, again,
it is normal.
No, not for one person to be your everything. That's not normal.
No, it is normal, which is why divorce rates are higher than ever.
I'm saying it's not normal. Like, it's not something that we should be practicing. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, no, it's not normal.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about?
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy. It's not healthy. It is normalized, but it's not healthy. And that's why, I always refer back to she's got to have it. Because even when I was in a relationship, I was like, damn, I wish I could live my life like that. Like, I was envious, because it was like, damn, one person can't be your everything. You want to have that, you know, whatever multitudes of people to be, you know what I mean? If you find it all in one person, great, but you still want to have like your friends, your family, your mentor, or whatever. And I think that it should be practiced a lot more, because then the divorce thing wouldn't be such a high rate. But I feel like the divorce rate is tied to the toxic monogamy, where people just feel controlled and limited.
Yeah.
Right. You know, it's crazy too, because even with my own relationship, I remember him even saying to me, like, you know, you came into this as a virgin. I want somebody who already knows, like, or who's more mature in this area or whatever, like that. And I would be like, well, like, you know what I'm saying? I cannot become instantly something. And it was like, in his head, it was like, it should be instant. It should be instant. And I was like, listen, you know, I'm who I am, and we can grow together in this area. But if you want an instant package, if you want some fast food junk, then you need to go ahead and release me, because I know that I'm bomb, and I know that somebody will have patience with me to get to where they need me to be, rather than you wanting me to already be someone that I'm not. And so he actually had to come to his own mind and say, dang, look at all these amazing qualities that make me want to be with this person and stay with this person. Like, is this worth me risking it all and saying I'm gonna throw this whole person away because I'm not getting everything that I want?
It just depends on the person.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it was for him at the time, it was just like, and the crazy thing is we were able to grow there because he had to say, you know what? I always had this vision in mind of I was going to get everything instantly. And I never, because I had that mentality, I never had patience. You know, I never thought about growing or, you know what I'm saying? I just was like instant, like, oh, you can get people who are here and they've been at this level and stuff like that. People don't have patience for that anymore. So they throw a whole person away when they're missing out on the value and the treasure that person truly is, the rarity of that person. And now you be looking at me like, dang, like, look at everything that you are. And it's like, exactly. And your behind was about to throw this all away, but it's okay though, because I already knew what I had. It's okay.
I already know who I am.
Right.
Right. I was going to let you do it too, because I know somebody that if you don't see something that's valuable, somebody else short, a whole bunch of people will. And I will
Fuck
use
anybody
that.
else. You see the value, and that's all that matters.
And that's the reason that I even had the power that I had, because I did. I knew I knew what I had, and I knew what I could have with other people. But if you, because you have it, are start sitting here like, oh, am I settling? Am I making a sacrifice? Oh, there's other people who could do this, but do they have the personality that I have? Do they have the mind that I have? Do they have the humor that I have? Are they freaking? They have the energy that I have? Do you have the conversations that I have? Like, you know what I'm saying? All of that. You have a package, and when you really start seeing like, dang, this is a whole freaking 10. I'm missing this one thing, though. So, you know what I'm saying? It's
the
just
80-20
really,
rule.
I mean, I guess, but I just feel like, but when you get to that level where, like I said, you have to be willing to say, to get to that point where it's like, this person is more valuable than searching to get these tiny pieces and these tiny parts. But if you're in a place where you feel like you haven't met anybody to get you to the place where it was even a 90, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
From my own personal experience, I had to do it. I had to do me.
Right.
It wasn't even worth holding on to the person, because I knew that I would find myself in the process. So everyone's different. Everyone, values different things differently. I just felt stifled. I had to get the fuck out.
Yeah. So it is what it is, but I feel like you should definitely take that experience and realize that was Mary. Like,
right,
Mary
that
is
was
somebody
you
now
at its rarest
right,
form.
like you fantasize about being to that place where you keep getting bored at.
Yep.
And I still feel that way to this day.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Like you weren't right now, and at that point in your life, take away, the cheating aspect.
Yeah.
You weren't bored. You see what I'm saying? So it's like that may be like you may be running and trying to, just like with me, like trying to fit inside the box, like, oh, I need to be with one person, oh, I need to be married, like that's the normal thing to do, blah 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 blah. Yeah. But it may not be your normal. You know what I mean?
It's just not for you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, you're saying that to yourself. You're saying like, you know what, I love the aspect. I have never found somebody who checked all my boxes. I love the aspect of one guy having this and one guy having that. But it's like, even though you feel like that and you know that, and you still haven't met anybody who checked all your boxes, you're still running back to the place where you feel stifled and bored.
Yeah, because it's normal.
Right. It's a comparison thing. Like, oh, other people, they have relationships, they're valuable. They have marriages, they're valuable. It's still that same mentality. You think other people are more valuable because they have one person. They think that, oh, because you were with one person thought you were special. Well, if you connect with 10 people think you're special.
Exactly. And there's nothing fucking wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Maybe I do need to explore this poly thing.
Girl, go ahead, girl.
You really got my wheels turning, because even when I talk to people about how we broke up, the first thing I say was, I was just bored. Because I was.
Yeah, you get bored easily, as I'm starting to see.
Yeah, she has ADD. I say that all the time. I do too.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I think it's not even about I mean, it is called polyamorous, but it's not even about relationships. I think that if
It's
you constantly
not. And it's not
about the
about
connection.
sex either.
No,
it's not
it's about
sex.
connection. You know, it's like, oh, I want to connect with I want to be able to, I'm curious about this person. I want to connect with them. I want to experience this with this person. You know what I'm saying? If you really think about people as connecting with people in general, instead of like bringing relationships into the factor, because I feel like that's where it starts to get complicated and you start to overanalyze, overthink.
Right.
And
then you have these expectations that
exactly
they really just don't apply. You know what I mean? And
and I
sometimes
think
those expectations kind of
drain
stifle.
you.
Yeah, and they stifle their relationship.
Yeah.
It takes away the excitement.
Right. And then you're doing too much. So I think the problem too is, I don't think that the person necessarily is boring. I think that because of what you have to do based off of the expectations you put on a person gets you bored, because it starts to drain you and it starts to become something it never was supposed to be. It becomes unnatural. And I don't think that you like that it's not genuine, when you don't even realize it's you who's not being genuine.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit.
Girls, you not being genuine. Damn. And it's being reflective in the people that you're trying to attach yourself to.
Bitch, buddy doodle.
I'm crying. But yeah, like, I think you need to start looking at people and men totally different than you have, and stop listening to society. Society is steering you wrong, and that's because you're like, society is telling me this, society is telling me that.
Yeah.
And because you keep trying to follow their rule book, you're missing your own self.
Yep. You're not even listening to yourself.
Right.
It's like myself don't matter. What I want doesn't matter because it seems as wrong. But fuck everybody. Fuck them. Okay?
Right.
You gotta live your life for you. We were talking about death earlier. Like, you're gonna look back and be like, damn, I've been bored and I haven't been fulfilled. You know what I mean? One side is work, but then there's other side where it's like relationships and how you want to have relationships with people. And the one by one may not be your thing.
Yeah, or the Mary that you are right now, she's not messing with it. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're in a place where you're active and you running around and you want to experience this and experience that. Maybe that the journey that you have to take. Ooh, Mary. Maybe the journey.
She's so excited.
Maybe the journey that you have to take, you need flexibility. You can't be tied down with one person because of what you're meant to do, which is why it's not working for you.
Ding, 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 ding.
Imagine. That's literally why. Because all this, look at how bored you are with your creativity.
So fucking
a lot
bored.
of men can't keep up with that. Or what if you need to travel here and there? A lot of men can't keep up with that. A lot of people can't keep up with that. Maybe you need to be able to be flexible, and what you're trying to do does not give you that. And think about it, like you said, I would have stayed in Virginia all this time if I was still married. What if that was never the plan?
Right. Which is why I'm over it now.
You should be.
Because you were finally awakened, but you still trying to go back to your old habits because you think that's just what it's supposed to be.
Or because she's comfortable and she doesn't.
I'm no longer comfortable, which is why I'm telling y'all damn near every day, like, damn, I'm bored. I know I'm not in my purpose and I'm trying to find it. So no, I'm not comfortable whatsoever.
No, I'm saying comfortable in Virginia.
Nah, hell no, not anymore.
Not anymore, but for a while you were, because definitely. Even when I was there, I was staying in Virginia. You know what I mean? Definitely. So it's like that's what I'm saying. Like, you've been comfortable, but now you're having this idea of leaving and revamping and changing. I just want you to go full force with it. I don't want us to be.
She wasn't single.
I don't want us in the same conversation next year. Right. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I need you to feel it and to make a plan and to do it and to not be fearful. But you're right, Asia. If she was in a relationship, she would have just stayed.
Your whole mindset was men.
It was.
And it blocked you. It blocked you from your creativity.
Yep.
it was like you couldn't see nothing else. And then when you finally was like, you know what, I'm gonna let this go, I'm gonna stay to myself, I'm gonna figure out like who is married, you started really tapping into, like, you know what I'm saying, look at all the energy you're able to put forth and say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And you're really able to give yourself your full energy because you're not even worried about them in that same manner anymore.
Right.
When that's been identity for
a long time.
Seriously. But ooh girl,
The revelations that have just
ooh.
occurred. That's why I love talking to y'all, man.
No, seriously,
Man.
like, ooh. I'm like turning in my head because it makes more sense to me. It makes so much sense. And it's like, I think another part of it too is like, it's so funny because now the conversation that we had in the other day when you were analyzing T about kind of like how
was just thinking that.
What?
Go ahead, T, if you want to.
Go ahead.
But
so I was like, that is why you could not understand when I was like, I want this guy's attention, but I don't want to be in a relationship with him. Like you could not get it, but it's because that's all your identity is around. That's all you focus on. You're like, okay, well, if you're dating a guy long enough, y'all should just be together. When it's like, nope, that's not that's the toxicity. That's the toxicity, right? The exclusiveness.
You don't think you could be
commitment.
in love and not be in a relationship,
right? You automatically they don't equal each other.
And
I can fall in love with this nigga. That don't mean I don't want to be in a relationship with him. But, you know what I mean? Like I don't want that. I don't want that boxed in. I had that, and I don't want the normality of it either. The come home, have dinner. Like I don't want that. Like I need excitement, and it's just like the same thing with you. Like I get bored easily, and my ex was boring as fuck, and so it was like I want to revamp what I see relationships as like being committed to somebody, but I'm not there yet. So it's like I want the fun of dating, but I don't want the stress of the commitment. Like that's where I'm at, and you couldn't see the two of them being separate. And that's why you just kept saying like I understand you, but I just don't get it. Like that's why you kept that's why we kept going back and forth.
Right. And I think that it's gonna come with its own challenges because when people love another person, they immediately box that love up and become overly protective of it. And so they become possessive. And I think that if you do go that way, so you have to realize that the path that you would take is a free one, an open one, and you would have to change your ideals about possessing and controlling another person, because once they reach that capacity of your vulnerability of your heart, of your love, you be like, no, that's just mine. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, if you do want that, if you feel in your heart that you need flexibility, you're going to also have to offer it to that other person as well. And you can't sit there and say, well, I'm in love, this equals a relationship. I'm feeling these emotions, this equals a relationship, because you're boxing yourself in every single time that you bring these old beliefs with you of the society beliefs. So you'll have to really differentiate societal beliefs and what is true to you. Because I understand that, which is why I stay monogamous.
So she's like, I don't have time.
Right. Like, ain't nobody else getting this love but me. And if that's the case, then I'm going to have me about 10 junks too. You freaking tried it. So you freaking tried it. Because I know, but I also feel like it's powerful for a woman. It's like freaking being a queen on her throne and having freaking princes kissing her feet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's truly powerful when you can get your needs met in that way, because I feel like it's truly what, like, for real, we run men. Like, we really run men. And I feel like you get to exercise your power when you're single in that way. You get to date and really use, I don't want to say use them, but you should. Like, you should get whatever it is that you want.
Right.
So I think it's really more powerful in that way. Whereas, you know, for me, I'm exercising power in my own life in different avenues or whatever like that while I'm still getting stuff done. You know what I'm saying? It's different benefits to both kinds of, you know, ways of doing it. But I like my way. But I can see your way. I can see it being something that you may need to experiment is what I'm saying.
Definitely. It's, that's, and it also mentally it kind of scares me, which is why I definitely know I need to do it.
What's scary about it?
Just going against the norm, going against what I felt was supposed to be my norm.
But I think that it's because you're not looking at the facts of your past. So you have to write down what's actually factual and what is a fantasy and what you're romanticizing. So it's kind of like you're not paying attention to yourself even now, which is why you're looking back and saying, but it scares me. No, you didn't pay attention to the Mary back then.
Right.
So you have to really think about what you truly want. If you find a person who has everything you want, then there's nothing wrong with that. But if you feel like you're not finding that, which is digging you into a hole of saying, I'm never going to find what I want, then I think that the obvious solution is to be the Mary back then who was like, you know what? I don't have what I want here. But you know what I'm saying? I can add another and now I feel good. And I can add another and now I feel better. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's just about wherever you are. If you're not getting what you want, then you need to add to what you want.
Yep, and you have every right to do that.
Yep, every right. My men are not the only ones.
Damn sure.
Wow.
And then I was gonna say the other topic, we already talked on it, but it's a prejudice against polyamory.
Wait. I wanted to go back to it because I had something to say about it.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say that I actually personally had to let go of the societal norms of what commitment looked like. Mm-hmm. Because if I did not, I would be single right now. So I had to take some steps back that didn't look right to everybody else too, because I feel like each relationship is unique in its own way, and each individual may need something that, you know, other couples may not need. Like, you're never in a relationship with another person or another couple so that you can be like, oh, like, you know what I'm saying? This is what they did. Oh, this is what I should do. It's like, no, at the end of the day, you're two different people. And it's like, when my relationship, when I was ready to get rid of my junk, it was like, you know what? Let me take a step back. You know what I'm saying? Let me put myself in a position where I can see clearly, or, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, or even with us having to live apart, all of that, like, I did things, even in like being committed to that person, I had to do certain things so that I could reflect as an individual. I could be free as an individual. I can be in a healthier environment to be able to live the way I need to. And we were so committed. So I just feel like I had to step away from what other people thought, what society would think, and did what was unique for me in my relationship. Otherwise, I wouldn't even have one.
Oh.
Well, the last one that I had was when they were talking about how people should stay together for marriage and kids or whatever like that. And I understood that too, because even with me, a lot of times when we would want to end things, one person would want to end things and the other person would be like, well, marriage. Like, and then it would, each time it would be separate, and the other person would be like, well, what about marriage and stuff like that? It was like, for that, it was like you were going against what the individual wanted, and you were doing it for the label and the title or whatever, which kind of made it toxic. So that's why I felt like, if anything, like, looking back, you just got to do what you need to do for yourself, because a label is for society.
Right.
It's not for the individuals. But like I said, kids or whatever like that, marriage, people just stay together because they feel like, you know what I'm saying, they don't want to offend anybody else, or they feel like, oh, well, we made it this far, or we have kids and stuff like that, and they just stay unhappy or whatever. So I definitely feel like it is toxic looking back, but I also use it to get where I'm at. And that's it. All right.
All right, y'all. Thanks for listening to Growing, Healing, and Shit. This was Toxic Monogamy Part 2. Ooh. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, y'all. Bye.